Good morning, everyone. Sorry for the delay. We had a few technical difficulties this morning, but I think we are live now. Appreciate everybody's patience, and it's good to see everybody this morning. Welcome to our June 8th, 2021 Madison County Fiscal Court meeting. This is a special call meeting due to the COVID-19 pandemic. The Madison County Fiscal Court will be video conferencing the fiscal court meetings live on the Madison County, Kentucky Facebook page and our local Spectrum TV channel 377 in compliance with the Office of the Attorney General's Opinion 20-05. At this time, Clerk Barger, I'd like to call this meeting to order. If you can, call the roll.
Master Reynolds.
Present.
Master Barger.
Here.
Master Tudor.
Here.
Master Bodkin.
Present.
Yes, sir.
Here. At this time, our master of our second district, Mr. Roger Barger, is going to lead us in a word of prayer. Good morning, Roger.
Morning. Let's pray. Father, as we conduct this fiscal court meeting, we pray that you will give us guidance and direction as we make the decisions pertaining to our county. God, we ask that you give the protection to the ones that serve and protect us each and every day. I pray these things in the holy name of my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ.
Amen. Thanks, Roger. Tom, if you will, lead us in the pledge, please.
Sir, we stand, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which
stands
one
nation under God,
indivisible,
with liberty and justice for all.
Thanks, Tom. Next, we have our approval of our meeting minutes. This was our May the 25th fiscal court meeting. I need a motion and a second to approve. Tom?
motion to approve the minutes from 5/25/21, Judge.
Thank you, Roger.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, call the roll, please.
Master Reynolds.
Yes.
Master Barger.
Yes.
Tudor.
Yes.
Master Bodkin.
Yes.
Let's Taylor.
Yes. Treasurer's report will be at our next fiscal court meeting. Today's first order of business is the first reading of ordinance 2021-07. This is our administrative code for 2021-2022 fiscal year. Good morning, Colleen.
Morning. I'm going to read through ordinance 2021-07. An ordinance to adopt the 2021-2022 administrative code, whereas the Madison County Judge Executive and Fiscal Court recognize that a personnel system which recruits and retains a qualified, motivated workforce is indispensable to the effective and efficient operation of county government. And whereas it is essential to have policies and procedures in writing delineating all aspects of employment affected by said policies and procedures. Now, therefore, be it ordained by the Madison County Judge Executive and the Madison County Fiscal Court of the Commonwealth of Kentucky, one, that the policies and procedures attached hereunto shall be the system of personnel administration in the county, and two, that the policy and procedures may be waived, altered, or suspended only by change in ordinance. This ordinance shall become effective on the date of the second reading and adoption. And just to outline for you all quickly, I know it's a pretty long document. It's close to 100 pages, but I wanted to just outline for everybody what changes were made, substantial versus grammatical. And our major changes were just a clarification on dress code, clarification on communicating with the media, clarification on the use of social media during work hours, clarification on the process of retrieval of equipment for employees during separation and during FMLA. Added an addition to the disciplinary procedure, which would include a formal discussion with human resources. Clarification on what is the official last day of employment when an individual resigns. And we added a rehire section, which was needed due to some situations that rose over the last 2 years. Added a contract employee language to clarify the difference between the contractual arrangement with an employee, a contract employee versus standard. Updated a scheduled on-call and non-scheduled callback. That's going to replace what we called emergency callback. And for Magistrate Reynolds in particular, this is the section that I think is going to address some of the jail overtime hours that we had discussed in a previous court. Schedule adjustments, clarification of years of service, employee status, time clock procedures, requesting leave for sick and vacation. We also outlined a little bit in a little clearer way the sick leave donation program, our FMLA process. We corrected our paternity leave policy for compliance with FMLA, added adoption leave, which is a state requirement, added leave without pay section, clarified retirement, added an HSA default enrollment section, and then clarified accidental death, life, workers' comp, and unemployment. And with that, Reagan, I'm happy after a motion is made to answer any questions.
Thanks, Colleen. Appreciate that. This is a first reading, so I do need a motion and a second on first reading of ordinance 2021-07. John Tudor?
Judge, I'd like to make a motion to adopt a resolution 2021-07, the administrative code.
Thank you. Do I have a second? Roger?
Second.
All right, I have a motion and a second. Do we have any discussion today? All right, seeing none. Tom?
Judge, I don't have any discussion, but I will be coming up to the courthouse this afternoon. I've got just a couple little semantic things I'd like to talk to Colleen about with it. And I didn't get all the way through it, but I do have just a couple, but I'll come up later for that.
No problem. And you all will see that on that, we kept it in a red line version so you all could see the changes. Once we take those red lines off, a lot of those cleanup things will get caught as well. So that's perfect.
Good.
All right, anyone else? All right, seeing none, call the roll, please.
Master Tudor,
Yes.
Master Buchan,
Yes.
Master Reynolds,
Yes.
Master Barger,
Yes.
Ms. Taylor.
Yes. And just for the record, for any citizen that would like to make public comment, please feel free to email the comment to comments@madisoncountyky.us. Also, a copy of this ordinance will be available on our website at www.madisoncountyky.us under the Transparency tab. Next, first reading of ordinance 2021-08. It's our drug and alcohol-free workplace for
Ordinance.
2021-2022. Colleen?
Sorry, I jumped the gun. Sorry.
No, it's okay.
Ordinance 2021-08, an ordinance to adopt the 2021-2022 drug and alcohol-free workplace policy. Whereas Madison County Fiscal Court has established a drug and alcohol-free workplace policy, including but not limited to covering supervisors, full-time employees, part-time employees, off-site employees, contractors, and applicants who are representing or conducting business for the county. And whereas the Madison County Drug and Alcohol-Free Workplace Policy is updated annually, now for be it ordained by the Madison County Judge Executive and the Madison County Fiscal Court of the Commonwealth of Kentucky, does hereby approve the 2021-2022 Drug and Alcohol-Free Workplace Policy. This ordinance shall become effective on the date of the second reading and adoption. And just so everyone knows, the only changes we made in this were format-based because the order just didn't really make a lot of sense when we went through orientation. Otherwise, there are no content changes from last year.
All right, thank you, Colleen. Do I have a motion and a second for the first reading of ordinance 2021-08? Tom?
Motion to approve ordinance 2021-08, Judge.
All right, do I have a second? John Tudor?
Second that motion, Judge.
All right, I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All right, seeing none, call the roll, please.
Master Buchan,
Yes.
Master Reynolds,
Yes.
Master Barger,
Yes.
Master Tudor,
Yes.
Ms. Taylor.
Yes. And I'll go ahead and warn everybody, I might sound a little bit like a broken record, but I'm supposed to read these after each first reading to let the public know where they can get this information or comment. So for any citizen that would like to make public comment, please feel free to email the comment to comments@madisoncountyky.us. A copy of this ordinance will be available on our website at www.madisoncountyky.us under the Transparency tab. Next is first reading of ordinance 2021-09. This is our code of ethics for 2021-2022. Colleen?
Ordinance 2021-09, an ordinance to adopt the 2021-2022 Code of Ethics. This ordinance shall supersede all previous code of ethics. Whereas the proper operation of democratic government requires that a public official be independent and impartial, that government policy and decisions to be made through the established process of government, that a public official not use public office to obtain private benefit, and that the public have confidence in the integrity of its government and its public officials. And whereas the public judges its government by the way public officials and employees conduct themselves in the posts to which they are elected or appointed, and public confidence and respect in government can be promoted in every public official and employee, whether paid or unpaid, and whether elected or appointed, will uniformly treat all citizens with courtesy, impartiality, fairness, and equality under the law, and avoid both actual or potential conflicts of interest between their private self-interest and the public interest. And whereas the officials of this county are committed to the operations of a county government that manifests the highest moral and ethical standards among its officers and employees, whereas the Madison Code of Ethics is officially updated, now therefore be it ordained by the Madison County Judge Executive and the Madison County Fiscal Court of the Commonwealth of Kentucky to hereby approve the 2021-2022 Code of Ethics. This ordinance shall become effective on the date of the second reading and adoption. The Code of Ethics only had grammatical changes this year, nothing substantive.
All right, thank you. First reading of ordinance 2021-09. Do I have a motion and a second? Paul?
Make a motion that ordinance 2021-09 is accepted.
All right. Do I have a second? Tom Bakken?
Second, Judge.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Again, this is just a first reading. All right. Seeing none, call the roll.
Mr. Reynolds,
Yes.
Mr. Barger,
Yes.
Mr. Tudor,
Yes.
Mr. Bakken,
Yes.
Ms. Taylor.
Yes. For any citizen that would like to make public comment, please feel free to email the comment to comments@madisoncountyky.us. A copy of this ordinance will be available on our website at www.madisoncountyky.us under the Transparency tab. Next is first reading of ordinance 2021-10. This is Airport Board interlocal agreement. An ordinance to adopt an interlocal agreement relating to the local air board formed pursuant to KRS 183.132 made by and between Eastern Kentucky University, the Madison County Fiscal Court, the City Commission of the City of Richmond, Kentucky, and the City Council of the City of Berea, Kentucky. Whereas the Madison County Fiscal Court, the City Commission of the City of Richmond, the City Council of the City of Berea, and Eastern Kentucky University, referred to herein individually as party or collectively as parties, desire to enter into an interlocal agreement, IA, relating to a local air board. And whereas in July 1971, the Madison Airport Board, Inc. was established, and whereas in October 2011, a joint resolution between Madison County, Richmond, and Berea was entered into to establish the Airport Board as a local air board pursuant to KRS 183.132. And whereas in March 2021, House Bill 158 was passed by the Kentucky General Assembly, signed by the Governor of Kentucky, and revised KRS 183.132 to permit the university to be a constituent party to the Air Board and to nominate for appointment thereto 2 members. And whereas the parties believe it to be in the public interest for the university to become a constituent party to the Air Board, and accordingly desire the university to become a constituent party to the Air Board. And whereas this IA shall be effective upon approval and execution by the parties, KRS 183.132 as amended by House Bill 158, becoming law in the Commonwealth of Kentucky, approval of the Kentucky Attorney General as required by KRS 65.260, and the filing of a certified copy with the Kentucky Secretary of State pursuant to KRS 65.290. And whereas as of this date, this IA becomes effective, the membership of the Air Board shall be increased from 6 to 8 members and shall be jointly chosen by Madison County Judge Executive, Richmond Mayor, Berea Mayor, and the university's Board of Regents. Now therefore be it ordained that the Madison County Fiscal Court does hereby approve to enter into this agreement and authorizes the Judge Executive to execute same on behalf of the county. This ordinance shall become effective on the date of the second reading and adoption. Do I have a motion and a second to approve ordinance 2021-10? Roger.
Make a motion to approve 2021-10 Airport Board interlocal agreement.
All right. Thank you, Roger. Paul?
I second that.
All right. Have a motion and a second. Do we have any discussion today? John Tudor?
Judge, I think this is only fair that Eastern has 2 members on the board. Also, there's 2 from each city and 2 from the county. So that will make 8 total members. And I think they can work together and making decisions out there as we're growing out there. And Eastern has such a big part in the airport out there with their flight training programs going on out there. So I think it's a good move.
Yeah, it is. I'm excited. They've always really been a partner anyway, you know, them being our FBO out there. So, and then just to make sure everybody's aware that, you know, the county, I'll appoint, recommend, you know, 2 board members, then each other entity actually ratifies that. And so we do the same for the city of Richmond, city of Berea, and Eastern. So they'll recommend 2 appointees and then we all ratify each other's appointees. So that's how that really works. And that's why that language says it in the last whereas in the resolution. So anyone else? All right, seeing none, I have a first and a second on ordinance 2021-10. Call the roll.
Mr. Barger,
Yes.
Mr. Tudor,
Yes.
Mr. Buchan,
Yes.
Mr. Reynolds,
Yes.
Mr. Taylor.
Yes. For any citizen that would like to make public comment, please feel free to email the comment to comments@madisoncountyky.us. A copy of this ordinance will be available on our website at www.madisoncountyky.us under the Transparency tab. Next, first reading of ordinance 2021-11. This is a zone change for 1449 and 1479 Barnes Mill Road. And it looks like Bert. Bert, you're going to read the ordinance, and then we have Mike Eves on with us that is representing the applicant, I think.
Morning, everybody. An ordinance of the Madison County Fiscal Court, Kentucky, approving the zone change of 1449 and 1479 Barnes Mill Road, Richmond, Kentucky, and authorizing the amendment of the official zoning map of Madison County, Kentucky. Whereas the hereinafter described land is located in Madison County, Kentucky, and whereas the Madison County Planning Commission held a public hearing on Tuesday, May 18th, 2021, to consider a land use change request application from UC7 to UC1. Upon presentation by the applicant and with public comment, findings of fact were made by the Planning Commission as described in their summary of evidence, findings of fact, and recommendation to the fiscal court attached hereto and made a part hereof for all purposes as follows. That the proposed zoning classification is appropriate as it is consistent with the comprehensive plan for the following reasons. The character and area of the property due to the residential development in the urban corridor where new development is encouraged. And the character of the surrounding area in this property are more suitable for residential purposes as the subject property is within the urban corridor and in close proximity to other properties used for residential purposes. and contains the required infrastructure for residential development. There's an established need for single-family residential lots in the county at this time. And whereas the Madison County Planning Commission, upon hearing testimony, made a motion and voted to recommend to the Madison Fiscal Court to approve the land use change request from UC 7 to UC 1. And whereas the Madison County Fiscal Court has reviewed said findings and recommendations of the Madison County Planning Commission, and being otherwise sufficiently advised, and does hereby adopt the findings of fact made thereby. Now therefore be ordained and enacted by the Fiscal Court of the County of Madison, Commonwealth of Kentucky, that the land use classification of the following described property be changed by this ordinance from UC 7 to UC 1 classification. And there's a legal description in section 1. Section 2, that the Madison County GIS coordinator make the appropriate changes to the official zoning map of Madison County, Kentucky. And section 3, that the county clerk cause this ordinance to be published in accordance with the Kentucky Revised Statute. This property, everyone, is located it's on Barnes Mill Road between Curtis Pike and Crutcher Pike. As you're going out of town on the left there, it is a request from an agriculture zoning to a single family residential zoning designation. And I'll be glad to answer any questions.
Thank you, Bert. I think now it's appropriate to get a first and second reading, and then we can bring it up for discussion. Do I have a motion to approve ordinance number 2021-11? Paul?
Make a motion to accept the ordinance of 2021-11.
All right, do I have a second? Tom Bakken?
Second, Judge.
All right, I have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
So I see that Mr. Eves is with us today. Could we hear what he's got to say about it?
Sure,
Is that appropriate?
sure. What, do you have a question for him, or
Well,
do you want him just
I
to?
guess my question starts with Bert. In the hearing that you had, was there opposition?
Yes.
And their basic opposition is what?
Just the development of the land in general. I think most of it was traffic. Some of the concerns were the types of homes that would be there. Would they be conventional site-built homes, or would they be manufactured homes? The applicant is proposing deed restrictions with site-built only homes. That was some of the concerns. The big thing was just the development and the traffic on that road. I think some of the people were concerned because of a potential development there at the corner of Goggins Lane and Barnes Mill that the city is proposing. Y'all might have heard about that. Some people had some concerns about that. I'm not sure that really relates to ours, other than the concern that that might increase traffic. All of our complaints, all of our comments, public comment during the meeting were from Willimack subdivision. That's where all the complaints came from, was that subdivision, which is adjacent, contiguous to this farm. It's right next to it. So that's where all the complaints came from. But again, they were mostly about traffic and that kind of thing.
These are county lots, so we're looking at acre lots.
Yeah, that was another thing. They were concerned about the density, but no, there's no sewer out there. So it'll all be 1 acre lots. The concept plan that it's 140 acres, I think thereabouts, Mike, if I'm right on that. 90 to 100 lots by the time you get all the infrastructure and roads and everything in there. But no, they'll all be 1 acre lots, site built, I assume fairly nicely restricted. I don't know the square footage or that kind of thing, but they'll be, the concept I saw was a decent layout of about 90 to 100 homes.
All right, Roger?
I assume that for where the property lays, that the water runoff would go to Tate's Creek. Is that correct?
No, that water will go to Silver Creek. Wanted to go down Crutcher or Curtis Pike down to Silver Creek down that way, down to below Will Green.
Okay.
Of course, the runoff it'll have to be retained in retention areas. They'll have to release that. They won't be able to release it any faster than it would now. So they'll have detention and retention in place to account for all that.
Well, I mean, my concern is the flood that we just had. You can see what can happen no matter how good your retainage is.
Yeah.
It's still in a storm like we had and the rains that we had, you're going to get flooding.
Yeah, the applicant at the public hearing, Roger, as part of his presentation, actually had his engineering company come and give a presentation on the layout and how they would, and kind of gave just a 30,000 foot view of how they would, they don't have any detailed drawings or anything, but he did speak about how they would manage that kind of thing.
Okay, appreciate you.
Anyone else? Any questions? Paul?
I just got a question, but is Barnesville Road state road?
Yes.
It is.
Yes.
This property's already got a couple entrances. You might have heard the 1449 and 1479. It's already got 2 state approved entrances, but they'll have to get approval because of the development and the density that they're going from to. The state will have to sign off, and they'll be the ones to make decision if they want turn lanes in one direction or both directions or at all, based on that density and whatever formula that they use for that.
And just for the magistrates, this, if you happen to look like on the PBA side or any of the county site, this is actually in 3 different tracks. I think actually on Billy's site. Isn't that correct, Bert?
I think it's 2, isn't it?
I think it's 3.
The long front one, and then you got the one in the back that kind of makes the L shape to it. Not really an L, but Mike, you want to jump in there?
I think there are 3. I think there are 3.
Okay.
There are 3 tracks, and I think they were all out of one track initially, and they were cut up, sold off, and then repurchased.
Yeah, if you look at the legal description in the ordinance, it does show 3 tracks. I didn't know that Billy had them broke down that way on his site, but it is 3 tracks in the legal description.
Any other questions? Tom, did you have any questions for Mr. Eves? Just to come back to you. I know your first question went to Bert.
Bert answered them.
Okay. All right. If there's no more discussion, no more questions, we do have a motion and a second on ordinance number 2021-11. It's the first reading. Call the roll.
Mr. Tudor,
I'm going to abstain on this, Kenny.
Mr. Buchan,
Yes.
Mr. Reynolds,
Yes.
Mr. Berger,
Yes.
that's 2.
Yes. For any citizen that would like to make public comment, please feel free to email the comment to comments@madisoncountyky.us. A copy of this ordinance will be available on our website at www.madisoncountyky.us under the transparency tab. And Mike, appreciate you being on with us.
Thank you, Judge. Have a great day.
You too, buddy. Next, first reading of ordinance 2021-12. This is a zone change at 2300 Battlefield Memorial Highway. Bert?
Ordinance number 2021-12, an ordinance of the Madison County Fiscal Court, Kentucky, approving the zone change of 2300 Battlefield Memorial Highway, Berea, Kentucky, and authorizing the amendment of the official zoning map of Madison County, Kentucky. Whereas the hereinafter described land is located in Madison County, Kentucky, and whereas the Madison County Planning Commission held a public hearing on Tuesday, May 18th, 2021, to consider a land use change request application from R7 to RC4. Upon presentation by the applicant and with no opposing view presented to the application, finding of fact were made by the Planning Commission as described in their summary of evidence, findings of fact and recommendation to the fiscal court attached hereto and made a part hereof for all purposes as follows. That the existing zoning classification is inappropriate and the proposed zoning classification is appropriate for the following reasons. This area of the county was one of increasing economic activity with access to 2 state highways, fire flow, and adequate infrastructure for development. The use of this property as it was presently zoned was not ideal due to changing economic activity within the area. And the property was within the rural development corridor with supporting infrastructure and economic development as contemplated by the comprehensive plan, that made RC4 the most appropriate zoning classification for the property. And whereas the Madison County Planning Commission, upon hearing testimony, made a motion and voted to recommend to the Madison County Fiscal Court to approve the land use change request from R7 to RC4. And whereas the Madison County Fiscal Court has reviewed said findings and recommendation of the Madison County Planning Commission, and being otherwise sufficiently advised, and does hereby adopt the findings of fact made thereby. Now therefore be it ordained and enacted by the Fiscal Court of the County of Madison, Commonwealth of Kentucky, that the land use classification of the following described property be changed by this ordinance from R7 to RC4 classification. And then section 1 has a legal description of the property. Section 2, that the Madison County GIS coordinator make the appropriate changes to the official zoning map of Madison County, Kentucky. And section 3, that the county clerk cause this ordinance to be published in accordance with the Kentucky Revised Statute. This property is located at the intersection, what would be the southwest intersection of Crooksville Road 499 and 421 Battlefield Memorial Highway, right before you drop over the hill down to Kingston. It's right there on the corner as you're going out of town, 23-acre tract. It is in the rural corridor. The concept was to develop, the concept plan presented to the Planning Commission was to develop this as many warehouses. I'm not sure that that would be the entire 23 acres, but that was the concept that was presented to the Planning Commission. We did not have any comments against this application.
All right, thank you, Bert. Do I have a motion and a second to approve ordinance number 2021-12? John Tudor?
Judge, I'd like to make a motion to adopt ordinance 2021-12.
Do I have a second? Roger?
Second.
All right, I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Tom?
Bert, this property, is it in a floodplain?
Yeah, not the whole property, Tom, but a good portion of the back along the creek there. It comes up a little bit on the back end of it there. Yes.
Are you, were the presenters looking at access from 499 or from 421?
This property has access from both. It's got existing entrances on 499 and on 421. They didn't indicate which one they would use as part of their development. They're aware of the floodplain issue, though. Obviously, that will reduce their available area to develop, but it does have entrances on both sides.
That's I don't have anything negative about it. Your recommendation's positive on it, but I just want to say that I have some concerns simply because of entrances onto 421 there. That's such a dangerous intersection right there. There's been over the years numerous wrecks to the point that the state went in and realigned that road to make visibility coming from the depot side of the road a lot better. So that, it's just a busy section, busy time, but
it is. The good thing about it is they've got some good sight lines there. The bad thing is they've got multiple entrances. I think the state will take that into account when they look at any kind of development plan to make sure they don't just start doing entrance after entrance after entrance like you've kind of got down through there already. But they have existing entrances that they can use. I don't suspect that the state would approve too many more entrances for this tract because of the issues you raised there.
Bert, whenever our planning commission looks at site development plan, I mean, our commission takes in consideration, life safety issues. Even if there's already an approved entrance there, it's one thing to have an approved entrance into just a 23-acre field that somebody farms that goes in and out of it, every now and then versus, a business that has multiple customers a day or what have you. So you all can approve the entrance in the site development plan based off of some of those site distances and making sure people pulling in and out are safe, correct?
We're a little limited as far as how the entrance is constructed or where the entrance is constructed, just because the state has the authority over that. But obviously, if the planning commission saw something that was a red flag, they would definitely take that into consideration.
Yeah, okay, good. John?
Bert, was that property not suitable for residential development there? Is that the
Well,
reason?
again, I mean, it's right there in the rural corridor, which is where we want some of our more higher density, more intensive uses to go. I think it's been for sale for a while. I don't think anybody has proposed putting any kind of residences there. You do have the floodplain issue that you'd have to deal with, which would limit the number of lots you could have in there. So I don't know that that's a perfect place for residential development because it is such a high traffic area. You do have so much, two state highways, like I said, so it's probably not great for residential.
Do you know how much they would have to back off from the creek down there for the flooding problem?
I don't. I can look that up for you, John, if you want me to, and get back with you. The floodplain comes out of the creek quite a bit right there. It's kind of flat down in that bottom if you went out there and looked at it. It's not awful. It doesn't take up, I wouldn't say it takes up half of the acreage, but it does take up a significant amount back there in the back.
Depends on how big a flood we get, right?
Well, yeah, it does. Yeah.
Okay. Thanks, Bert.
Okay.
All right, any other questions? All right, seeing none, call the roll, please. Seeing none, call the roll, please.
He's fell asleep again.
Seeing none, call the roll, please.
I was pushing the space bar just like I do in the road, but it didn't work. I thought Tom was muted. Madison, Madison, please.
Yes.
Mr. Reynolds,
Yes.
Mr. Barger,
Yes.
Mr. Tudor,
Yes.
Judge Taylor.
Yes.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, Bert. For any citizen that would like to make a public comment, please feel free to email the comment to comments@madisoncountyky.us. A copy of this ordinance will be available on our website at www.madisoncountyky.us under the Transparency tab. Next, Resolution 2021-61. This is the Detention Center Policies and Procedures Manual. A resolution approving the 2021-2022 Madison County Detention Center Policy and Procedures Manual. Whereas the Madison County Detention Center has developed and will maintain an organizational chart and operations manual. And whereas the organizational chart and operations manual are approved by the Madison County Fiscal Court and filed with the Kentucky Department of Corrections annually. Now therefore be it resolved that the Fiscal Court does hereby approve the 2021-2022 Detention Center Policy and Procedures Manual and authorizes the judge executive to execute same on behalf of the county. Do I have a motion and a second to approve Resolution 2021-61? Tom Bakken?
Motion to approve Resolution 2021-61, Judge.
Thanks, Tom. John Tudor?
I second that motion, Judge.
Have a motion and a second for the approval of Resolution 2021-61. Do we have any comment or any discussion? All right. Seeing none, call the roll, please.
Mr. Reynolds,
Yes.
Mr. Barger,
Yes.
Mr. Tudor,
Yes.
Mr. Bakken,
Yes.
Judge Taylor.
Yes. I'm going to skip over the next one just for a minute. We're waiting on some communication back from the health department to make a small change. And so, hold on a minute. All right, that was good timing. We just got confirmation. So thank you, Dustin.
Sorry about that, Judge.
No, that's good. That is good. Are you reading the resolution, Dustin?
Yes, sir, if that's all right.
Sure.
You good to go ahead?
Yes. Resolution 2021-62.
Yes.
This is an EMA, Madison County Health Department MOA.
Yep. Resolution 2021-62. Resolution to approve a memorandum of agreement between the Madison County Emergency Management Agency, EMA, and the Madison County Health Department, MCHD, whereas the Madison County Emergency Management Agency and the Madison County Health Department desire to enter into this memorandum of agreement as part of a collaborative effort to be prepared to protect the health and safety of the citizens of Madison County. And whereas the Madison County Emergency Management Agency and the Madison County Health Department enter into this agreement for utilization of emergency management personnel and vehicles to transport Madison County Health Department pod trailers in the event of an emergency or needed use. And whereas no payments shall be made by either party under the terms of this agreement, and whereas the duration of this agreement shall be good for a period of 1 year. And Judge, this is where we're gonna update. Go ahead. Okay, so the period of 1 year, and magistrates, we're gonna update this to say with an automatic renewal or until terminated by a participating party upon 30 days written notice. Now therefore it be resolved that the fiscal court does hereby approve to enter into this agreement and it authorizes the judge executive to execute the same on behalf of the county.
Thank you, Dustin. And just for clarification, and we made this change on the resolution kind of last minute, but that whereas will state the duration of this agreement shall be for a period of 1 year from the date signed with automatic renewals every year following or until terminated by a participating party upon 30 days written notice. When I looked and read this agreement, for us just partnering with a local entity in an emergency, I didn't see why that we would need to bring this MOA back to court every year when all we're doing is just partnering with them, mobilizing and moving their trailers for them in case of an emergency. So we just added the automatic renewal every year. And then if you all saw the actual agreement from the health department, they're going to make that change as well under the terms of the agreement. So if you all approve that change in this resolution 2021-62, I need a motion and a second. Roger?
Make a motion to approve the 2021-62 EMA Madison County Health Department agreement.
Thank you. Paul Reynolds?
I'll second that.
Thank you all. Do we have any discussion? Tom?
Just a question, Judge. Are we allowed to do that? That's not something we've done that I can remember on any other MOA.
Well, we have automatic renewals on stuff like, I think like our medical plan, can automatic renew. There's with the detention center, it can automatically renew. You give written notice, you have the 30 days. This is really such a small agreement. I didn't know why you would want to bring this back on a yearly basis when all we're doing is just moving a trailer in an emergency at the recommendation from the health department.
Yeah, that's fine. I don't really have any problem with that. It's just I was thinking more in the terms of automatic renewals extending to other larger issues.
Yeah, I think we look at that on a case-by-case basis. I think there are a lot of things that we would want to bring back to the court on a yearly basis because I think it keeps us fresh on what our agreements out there are. I think in this situation, for what the topic is, I think it's something that we could just let continue until we give the 30-day written notice. Dustin, in your situation, how many times have they called this past year to mobilize?
Oh, this past year, no. And I think this is year 3 on this agreement, if I'm not mistaken, Judge. And they've never called to have to do this. What it is their point of dispensing trailers. So if they were to have to dispense a large amount of medication of some type to the mass group, they have basically equipment in these trailers that is suited to do so, and they would contact us to take it to that location. So yeah, no, we've never done this in my time here. Any
other questions, comments? We have a motion and a second to approve resolution 2021-62. Seeing none, call the roll, please.
Pastor Berger,
Yes.
Pastor Tudor,
Yes.
Pastor Buchan,
Yes.
Pastor Reynolds,
Yes.
Judge Taylor.
Yes. Next, resolution 2021-63, a resolution for the appointment of the Madison County Fiscal Court to the Southern Madison Water Board. Whereas the Madison County Fiscal Court is responsible for the appointment of Southern Madison Water Board members. And whereas the current term for Larry Todd is set to expire June 17th, 2021. And whereas Larry Todd has proven his capability in serving as a Southern Madison Water Board member and is willing to continue serving in this capacity. And whereas the Madison County Fiscal Court has found Larry Todd is fit for the position as a board member of the Southern Madison Water Board. Now therefore be it resolved that the Fiscal Court does hereby approve Larry Todd as a Southern Madison Water Board member. This term would expire June 17th of 2025. I need a motion and a second to approve resolution 2021-63. Tom?
Motion to approve resolution 2021-63, Judge.
Thank you. John Tudor.
Second that, Judge.
I have a motion and a second. Do we have any discussion? All right, seeing none, call the roll, please.
Pastor Tudor,
Yes.
Pastor Buchan,
Yes.
Pastor Reynolds,
No.
Pastor Berger,
Yes.
Judge Taylor.
Yes. Thank you all. All right, next, resolution 2021-64. This is fiscal year 21 raise grant application. And I believe we have Tom Webb on with us.
Good morning.
There you are, Tom. Good morning.
Resolution 2021-64, a resolution for application and administration of U.S. Department of Transportation FY 2021 Raise Grant Program funds. Whereas the U.S. Department of Transportation is accepting applications for the FY 2021 Rebuilding American Infrastructure with Sustainability and Equity, or RAISE, Transportation Discretionary Grant Program. And whereas funds for the FY 2021 RAISE Transportation Grant Program are to be awarded on a competitive basis for surface transportation infrastructure projects that will have a significant local or regional impact. And whereas funds awarded under this program may be used for roads, bridges, transit, rail, ports, or intermodal transportation. And whereas the Madison County Fiscal Court, Kentucky desires to make an application for FY 2021 Department of Transportation Raise Grant Program funding for construction of a roadway connecting the new Kentucky Route 52 to Madison Airport Road. And whereas the County of Madison, Kentucky wishes to authorize the judge executive and or his designee to make application for FY 2021 Department of Transportation Raise Program funding. And if the application is successful, to enter into an agreement with the Department of Transportation to administer this award, to execute any documents which are deemed necessary to facilitate and administer this award, to act as authorized correspondent for this award. And whereas Madison County Fiscal Court is requesting Department of Transportation Raise Grant funds in an amount which will be specified in the grant application, which is currently being prepared for submittal. And whereas a local match is not required and local funding is not considered in the scoring of raise grant applications. And now, therefore, be it resolved this 8th day of June, 2021, by Madison County, Kentucky, the judge executive and her designee is hereby authorized to execute and furnish all required documentation, including memorandum of agreements as may be required for the furtherance of the above referenced project, and to act as the authorized correspondent for said project.
All right, thanks, Tom. Resolution 2021-64. Do I have a motion and a second? Tom Bakken?
Motion to approve resolution 2021-64, Judge.
Thank you, Roger.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Do we have any discussion? Tom?
This is different, Judge, from the bill grant that we've applied for the last 3 years. Is that correct?
Well, it's really the same program, Tom, but when you get a new president in, they a lot of times will change the name of it. I think before build, I think it was called Tiger, wasn't it, Colleen? That was
Correct.
the Tiger grant, and then under President Trump, it was called Bill Grant, and now it's called Raise.
So I guess my question in it, and not a concern, but the question was, we're asking for a new road from the airport to 52 when we don't have a 52 new corridor tied into Duncannon yet.
So, Tom, the state has the funding now. When we applied for this in the past 3 years, we were partnering with the state in that bill grant, 452 connector to Duncannon. The state has the funding now for that, and they actually are letting that project this fall. And so we're actually trying to move to what we kind of call it as Economy Road. We're wanting to apply for it ourselves because we still believe in that whole project, that whole concept we've been trying to put together for the last several years.
Right, I agree.
And just so the court knows, we did have Economy Road laid out in that previous build application. The arrangement that we had made was that in the event that it was funded, we would move some of those state resources or request those state resources to do Economy Road. So we've always envisioned the extension as well as the Economy Road as one project, just different funding sources.
Does this one require matching funds?
Does not.
No, matching funds are really up to our local government and body. Yeah.
As a matter of fact, the RAISE grant cannot make matching funds a component of consideration for funding the project. So not only is it not required, it isn't even a component of the scoring of the success of the application.
Good. Thank you.
Thanks, Tom. Good questions. John Tudor.
Judge, as we all know, there's no easy access to the airport right now. And we've been working on this for several years because it's going to be a mostly more used airport, more used transportation asset to the county in the coming years. So we need a more direct road to the airport. But is this a federal fund grant or is this state?
No, it's a
It's
federal.
a federal.
Mhm.
Okay. Well, if we're accepted for this grant, can we hold the money off until the state road is approved or built before we can use this money?
Ask that question again, John.
If we're approved for this grant from the federal government for the extension from 52 over to the airport, can we hold this money until the new 52 corridor is built?
Yeah, go ahead, Colleen.
I was gonna say, we probably can't commit to holding it entirely. We could go ahead and start doing engineering and work on that. But there will be a timeline in which it is required to be spent by. And so if there were delays on that state road project, we couldn't necessarily commit that we would hold all of it. We may lose it if we hold it that long, but what we can commit to is that we would not start doing anything with those funds until we knew the full project not only was let, but had started.
Is there any estimate on this grant, Colleen?
What do you mean, a timeline estimate?
No, a money estimate on how much we're applying for this.
Not at this time. We'll go through that with the grant writing team. We in the past, the Transportation Cabinet has provided a grant team that has done the work to give us preliminary estimates.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, we had a preliminary estimate, in the past, but obviously that could change, when you come around to another year to apply. So cost of materials and things like that go up. So
we were just fortunate in the past that the state had already done the work on 52. We were just applying for funding. This time we're doing it the opposite way, which is we're doing, the pre-work and then making the application.
All right, thank you.
Any other questions?
I think, Judge, if I remember, memory serves me right, there was some state money that available a couple of years ago. They were talking about doing some improvements to the existing road, but the problem with it is that there's no place to widen the road. If you're talking about right into banks, it's almost impossible. The biggest part of that improvement would have been straightening out that S curve down there, tying into the intersection at Duncannon, which may or may not still happen. I'm not sure. I haven't seen that plan that far now. But a new road's definitely a way to go there.
Yeah. I agree. Well, and you get on down there and you're locked by the interstate and then you're locked by Welchwood subdivision. So, yeah, I agree. All right. Any other comments or questions? We have a motion and a second to approve resolution 2021-64. Seeing no more comments, call the roll.
Pastor Buchan,
Yes.
Pastor Reynolds,
Yes.
Pastor Berger,
Yes.
Pastor Tudor,
Yes.
Judge Taylor.
Yes. Next, resolution 2021-65. This is the road department annual bids awards. Good morning, Scott.
Good morning. Madison County Fiscal Court, Madison County, Kentucky, Resolution 2021-65. A resolution for awarding Madison County Road Department annual bids. Whereas the Madison County Fiscal Court is required to approve of all bid in accordance with the administrative code. And whereas bids are for asphalt, bulk engine oil, concrete, culverts, petroleum, rock. And whereas bids were properly posted and have been opened and reviewed, and whereas the Madison County Road Department is recommending award of those open. Now therefore be it resolved that the fiscal court does hereby approve the following bids and authorize the judge executive to sign any documents regarding the contracts. Asphalt to the Allen Company Incorporated, bulk engine oils to Apollo Oil, concrete to Concrete Materials Company LLC, culverts to Interstate Construction Products, and petroleum to Kentucky Petroleum Supply. And lastly, rock to the Allen Company Incorporated. With that, Judge, if you get a motion in a second, I will be glad to answer any questions that you have.
Thank you, Scott. Do I have a motion and a second to approve resolution 2021-65? John Tudor.
Judge, I'd like to make a motion to approve resolution 2021-65 upon Scott's recommendation for the road, oil, gas, and rock culverts.
All right. Do I have a second, Roger?
Second.
All right, I have a motion and a second. Do we have any discussion?
I did have a discussion. I mostly just had a comment, Judge. I didn't really see, or I take it back. I saw price increases across almost everything with the exception of fuel. Is that correct, Scott?
That is correct. That over merchandise did go up. I was shocked that it didn't go up more than it did. We had a small increase, but there was a large difference in the fuel bid this year. And that's why I made my recommendation to change companies.
Scott, is that fuel bid for a year in length?
It is actually for a year, but it's not the per gallon price that you're seeing listed. It's actually based off of terminal price. So you have to look at their margins on terminal price. The fuel will go up and down, but it'll always be the same spread from terminal price, and that will set your per gallon price.
Okay.
Does that switching companies on that, Scott, affect the way we stored it all?
It will not affect, it won't affect the way we store it, other than the company we have currently. We do use their equipment, such as their tanks and their pumps. So the new company within this bid will have to come in and replace their tanks and pumps with their own.
All right. Thank you.
But that's all part of the bid, correct, Scott?
That is correct.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming that you're seeing or hoping for minimum disruption during that time frame.
I plan on minimum disruption and have reached out, and I think we can accomplish that through our planning here at the road department.
Good. Thank you.
All right, any other questions or comments?
I do have one more comment, Judge, and that's just
Yes, sir.
for our constituents that are listening. Part of everything that we're talking about is everything going up, but one of the big things that went up this year, which was anticipated, and once again, is the price of asphalt. Well, we're still in the same pickle. We still only get so much money to blacktop so much roads. It just may be the case once again where we're blacktopping less instead of more.
Yep. Anyone else? All right, seeing none, call the roll, please.
Pastor Reynolds,
Yes.
Pastor Barger,
Yes.
Pastor Tudor,
Yes.
Pastor Buchan,
Yes.
Butch Taylor.
Yes. Thanks, Scott.
Thank you.
Next, resolution 2021-66. This is Board of Adjustments Board appointments. The first one, a resolution for the appointment of Madison County Fiscal Court to the Madison County Board of Adjustments, whereas the Madison County Fiscal Court is responsible for the appointment of Madison County Board of Adjustments members, and whereas the current term for Valerie Himes is set to expire June 20th, 2021, and whereas Valerie Himes has proven her capability in serving as a Board of Adjustments board member and is willing to continue serving in this capacity, and whereas the Madison County Fiscal Court has found Valerie Himes as fit for the position as Board of Adjustments members, now therefore be it resolved that the Fiscal Court does hereby approve Valerie Himes as a Madison County Board of Adjustments member. Do I have a motion and a second to approve resolution 2021-66? Paul Reynolds.
Make a motion to approve resolution 2021-66.
All right, Roger.
Second.
Thank you all. Do we have any discussion? All right, seeing none, call the roll, please.
Pastor Barger,
Yes.
Tudor,
Yes.
Pastor Buchan,
Yes.
Pastor Reynolds,
Yes.
Butch Taylor.
Yes. Next is resolution 2021-67. This is also a Board of Adjustments board appointment, a resolution for the appointment of the Madison County Fiscal Court to the Madison County Board of Adjustments, whereas the Madison County Fiscal Court is responsible for the appointment of Madison County Board of Adjustments members, and whereas the current term for Mike Mavety is set to expire June 20th, 2021, and whereas Mike Mavety has proven his capability in serving as a Board of Adjustments board member and is willing to continue serving in this capacity, whereas the Madison County Fiscal Court has found Mike Mavety as fit for the position as Board of Adjustments member. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Fiscal Court does hereby approve Mike Mavety as a Madison County Board of Adjustments member. Do I have a motion and a second to approve resolution 2021-67? John Tudor.
Judge, I'd like to make a motion to approve resolution 2021-67, the reappointment of Mike Mavety to the Board of Adjustments.
Thank you, John. Do I have a second? Tom?
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? And just for y'all's information, both of these Board of Adjustments appointments will expire on June 20th, 2024. Seeing no discussion, call the roll.
Pastor Tudor,
Yes.
Pastor Buchan,
Yes.
Pastor Reynolds,
Yes.
Pastor Barger,
Yes.
Butch Taylor.
Yes. Next, resolution 2021-68. This is Madison County AOC Courthouse MOU, a resolution approving a memorandum of understanding between the Administrative Office of the Courts and Madison County for a capital construction project to renovate the Madison County Courthouse. Whereas KRS 26A.090 to 26A.168 governs the provision, development, and operation of facilities for the use of the Commonwealth of Kentucky Court of Justice. And whereas pursuant to KRS 26A.100, a local unit of government is charged with the responsibility of providing facilities for the use of the KCOJ court facilities in each county of the Commonwealth of Kentucky. And whereas Madison County is a local unit of government as contemplated by KRS 26A.100. And whereas the county wishes to provide court facilities in said county, and whereas the county initiated a Madison County Courthouse renovation project in 2019 in partnership with the Administrative Office of the Courts, AOC, after the General Assembly authorized lease payments for the Court of Justice in a 2018 House Bill 203. And whereas the county advertised for professional service providers in compliance with its procurement policies and has contracted a financial services provider, bond counsel, a design professional, and a construction manager. And whereas pursuant to KRS 26A.160, parentheses 2, the AOC is charged with the responsibility of overseeing the design, financing, and construction of court facilities. And whereas the AOC and the county have recognized a need for the project to proceed as a Court of Justice capital construction project to renovate the Madison County Courthouse, and the 2021 General Assembly has authorized the project in the Judicial Branch 2021 Budget Bill. And whereas the county understands and agrees that no portion of the amount authorized by the 2021 General Assembly in the Judicial Branch Budget Bill is to be used to provide space for the county or to be used toward the county's pro rata portion of the project, if any. And whereas this MOU supersedes the August 25th, 2019 MOU between the county and the AOC regarding the renovation of the Madison County Courthouse. Now therefore be it resolved that the fiscal court does hereby approve to enter into this memorandum of understanding and authorizes the judge executive to execute same on behalf of the county. At this time, do I have a motion and a second to approve resolution 2021-68? Roger.
So moved, Judge.
Tom Bakken.
Second, Judge.
I have a motion and a second. Do we have any discussion?
So the renovation, Judge, while it's going on, where will the courts conduct that?
Right now, the plan is that the circuit court would actually move over. There would be a small renovation to the Chase Bank building. They would temporarily be in that location.
Yes, sir.
John Tudor?
Judge, just want to make a comment that make sure everybody knows that the renovation to the Big White Courthouse is done by the AOC, and it will not cost any county funds. It's all made through funds from the court system.
That is correct.
Which also is anticipated at an over $12 million project, correct?
Yeah, I think that's the amount that was in the budget bill. But of course, when the AOC requests those funds, they're including. They have some different terminology for it, but that's the construction portions plus any kind of furniture, any kind of expenses to be able to operate the courts as they're needed.
And
that's
Judge,
your architectural fees, all fees.
There will be 2 courtrooms in the new renovation, Judge. Is that correct?
Yes, that is the plans that we have right now. This actually sets us up as part of the MOU. We will have a sort of a construction team that will review and finalize all the plans. We'll be working with the architects and the construction manager to finalize all those blueprints to meet the needs of the judges and the AOC. We also will be bonding this project. Part of a capital project. The county actually will bond the project, and then the AOC actually makes the direct payments for the bond directly from the AOC. Any other questions? Colleen?
I just wanted to add a huge thank you to Representative Frazier and Senator Carpenter. And I know you wouldn't say it, Reagan, but as your work in Frankfurt this past year to be able to get that line item through in the budget, for those that aren't aware, that line item actually wouldn't have happened. It was supposed to be an appropriation from AOC, and during COVID that got taken off the table. And Jared and Deanna and you all fought for that. So on behalf of our team, thank you to all of those individuals.
Thank you, Colleen. This project has been a long time coming. We've talked about this project for a long time, and I'm so thankful that we did get that bill passed, and that it is a capital project. Once it's a capital project, there's really no taking it away at that point. And so we really hope that we will be starting on some of those renovations within the next couple of months. So it's very exciting and refreshing. So, and for all those citizens out there that might see some paint chipping off the courthouse, we are aware of that, but we've been working on this project, and we didn't want to be going in and making a lot of and spending a lot of tax dollars when we know we're getting ready to do a renovation. So for all those listening or can get the word out, we are aware of that, and this project is going to be a total renovation. So any other questions or comments? All right, seeing none, call the roll, please.
Master Bucking,
Yes.
Master Reynolds,
Yes.
Master Barker,
Yes.
Master Tudor,
Yes.
Judge Taylor.
Yes. Thank you all. Next, Personnel, Road Department. Scott.
Good morning again. We would like to recommend to hire Stephen Brock as a CDL general laborer. Starting pay would be $14 per hour, and a start day would be June 9th, 2021, which is tomorrow.
All right, thank you, Scott. Do I have a motion and a second to approve Scott's recommendation? John Tudor.
Judge, I'd like to approve the personnel hiring of Steve Brock.
Thank you. Roger.
Second.
All right, so I have a motion and a second to hire Steve Brock as a CDL general laborer, full-time, salary at $14 an hour, start date 6/9/2021. All right, any questions or comments? John?
Judge, I'd just like to say that Steve's worked for us in the past. He worked with the fire department. He's a good, hard worker. I think he'll do us a good job. I'm glad to have him back.
Yeah, I concur. Any other comments? All right, seeing none, call the roll.
Excuse me. Master Reynolds,
Yes.
Master Barker,
Yes.
Master Tudor,
Yes.
Master Bucking,
Yes.
Judge Taylor.
Yes. Thanks, Scott. Next is Personnel, Animal Shelter. Good morning, Katie.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm good.
We would like to recommend the hiring of Jesse Lindsay for the position of the full-time kennel technician with a salary at $11 an hour and a start date of Thursday, June 10th.
Thank you, Katie. Do I have a motion and a second upon Katie's recommendation for a kennel tech position? Tom?
Motion to hire Jesse Lindsay, Judge, as the kennel technician, $11 an hour on 6/10/21.
Thank you. Do I have a second? Paul Reynolds.
I'll second.
Thank you all. Any questions? Any comments? Any discussion? All right, seeing none, call the roll.
Master Barker,
Yes.
Master Tudor,
Yes.
Master Bucking,
Yes.
Master Reynolds,
Yes.
Judge Taylor.
Yes. Thank you, Katie. Good to see you.
Thank you.
Next is Judge's report. Just a few updates. Richmond's Independence Day extravaganza will be Sunday, July the 4th at Lake Reba Recreational Complex. Gates open at 5 p.m. and fireworks will be around 10 p.m. Please see the Richmond Parks and Recreation's website for more details. And a bit of advice is to come early. It's always a packed house out there. It's a wonderful event. We really appreciate Richmond's Parks and Rec and what kind of events that they put on, not only for this event, but they do an outstanding job for our county. Bria's 4th of July celebration is still in its final planning stages. Please contact Bria Parks and Recreation for more information. Repaving work has begun on portions of the EKU bypass. For anybody that's already been out there, it can be a little bumpy and a little congested. And so just remember that if you can avoid that area, especially while they're repaving, we love new paved roads. And so if we can avoid that area to get that done quicker, it would be much appreciated. The bridge over the CSX Railroad on Mentalist Road, Kentucky 1983, has been deemed unsafe by the Kentucky Transportation Cabinet and is closed until further notice. Motorists are advised to find alternative routes. Tom, you might mention this in your comments. We've all been talking about that bridge for a long time. It's the old, what we refer to as the old wooden bridge. And tried to get things changed on it, and it's finally been deemed unsafe, so it's had to be closed. And it is a pretty heavily traveled route. So please be mindful also of our mowing crews on our county and state roadways and right-of-ways. Please give them plenty of room and be patient. And I really appreciate everybody's patience with our road department this year. Sometimes we have storms that are unexpected and it gets us behind. I'm really appreciative of their job in cleaning up all the debris from the ice storms. We've had calls about getting roadsides mowed. And part of us being a little bit behind on that is because we had so much debris cleanup from those ice storms. And so I really appreciate our road department's due diligence in trying to get all these things accomplished that they have on their plate. And I really appreciate the citizens' patience and understanding of giving us and allowing us a little bit of extra grace and time to get caught back up. We did get many positive comments of how efficient and how great the road department did in the debris cleanup. And so we're always thankful of those positive comments. You don't always hear those in government, but we did hear a lot of positive comments on that. So kudos to our road department and a job well done. Last but not least, our Madison County Courthouse and its related offices will be closed on Friday, July the 2nd. For the Independence Day holiday. Our offices will reopen on Monday, July the 5th at 8 a.m. So 4th of July this year's on Sunday. We will be closed on Friday the 2nd. Comments from magistrates. I'll start with you, Roger. You're in my top left corner.
Okay, don't have much, but drove out Irvin Road Saturday night, and when I got out to the fairgrounds, I was really surprised to see a field full of cars. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, Roger. I got you.
Okay. Field full of cars out at the fairgrounds for the truck and tractor pull. It was so good to see people out, and I know they was all ready to get out, as we all are. But it was just good for the county to see that the people can get back out now and do some things. Had a good truck and tractor pull. Other than that, I just want to, as I always do, I want to thank all of our help, all of our employees in the county behind the scenes. They get a lot of things done that they never get recognition for, and I think about them every day. When I do my job, it's easy because they do their job. Thank you.
That's great, Roger. Thank you. And the rodeo was a big success too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think there was standing room only out there on both nights. Willie kind of gave me an update about the rodeo, and a lot of people had good comments about it as well. So appreciate our fair board and all the different activities and functions that they put on. So they're a good group. Let's see, Tom Botkins next.
Just a couple things, Judge. After our last meeting, there was several social media posts and comments and phone calls and different things concerning the PVA comments there where Mr. Ackerman came and addressed the court. And all I want to say about that is just simply that he stated in that last court meeting that you have until June the 15th if you want to address what you feel is the fair market value of your property. And you can do that by going to MadisonCountyPVA.com and schedule an appointment to come in, and or you can schedule a phone conference, or you can schedule an email, or you can just call. But there's a lot of complaints about that, and if you feel like your assessment is not fair, then please, he wants you to call their office. Please call the PVA or go on to that MadisonCountyPVA.com website and schedule an appointment and go address it. There's no need sitting around complaining about it. If you don't like it, go talk to them, and they'll make rulings from there. I wanted to say, Judge, last week, I know that Kenny has talked about this, I think before. We're having discussions about real ID. And I went last week over to the old Richmond Mall and had a real ID made. And all I want to say about that was one smooth, quick process. I wasn't in there any longer than 10 minutes. And the only thing that I would say about that is if you choose to have one of those real IDs made, that you are required to take 2 forms of documentation that proves your address. Of course, you can get that information straight off the website. But what I didn't see on there, and I just happened to get lucky, is those forms of ID have to be dated. So if you take a bill in there that's got your address, make sure that it's got the date on it from a postage mark or something on the envelope, or there's a date on the bill or a date on a letter or whatever to prove your residency. You addressed the CSX bridge, and you're absolutely right. That thing is a disaster. A couple of years ago, they dropped the weight limit from 10 ton down to 3 ton. And of course, we had the guardrail situation out there, ran over 3 or 4 times because every time that interstate would close, semis would divert off of there, and GPS would ultimately take somebody out there in a semi to try to cross that bridge. And they tore the guardrail up there 2 or 3 times. It's 1,000 wonders that the bridge didn't collapse. But I'm glad that they've closed it and are addressing that issue, whatever the outcome is on that, because that is a very busy access way from White Station back into Bria. Let's see, last thing, there was I hope, just for the folks that have asked and are concerned about it, I hope that this week, Judge, that we'll be able to get together with the road department and make a decision on Wallace Mill Road speed limit. That's come up several times, and we're trying to take care of that. And there was also some calls about some guard railing that I think that we've been working on to try to resolve those issues as well with the bluegrass ad. Last thing, Judge, if anyone needs to get a hold of me, they can reach me at 200-9765.
Thanks, Tom. Paul Reynolds.
No comment, Judge.
Thanks, Paul. John Tudor.
Judge, just a few things. I want to go back and talk a little bit about the truck and tractor pull that was out Saturday night at the fairgrounds. I heard there was over 2,000 plus people there in attendance. That's a great turnout. The Waco Volunteer Fire Department does a great job out there and it's a good fundraiser for them. Thank them for that. Thank all the fair board members out there for working with them. I've had a few calls about the mowing in certain areas. I know we're running a little bit behind, but like you said, it's because of the debris cleanup, and we will get to you. Just be patient with us on that. I've been working a little bit with Brandon McIntosh with the State Highway Department. He's had a couple of calls on some branches down on Dreyfus Road that was due to the ice storm, and he's going to try to get those cleaned up on the roadside this week and make it safer out there and some curves and so forth. I also had a call from a constituent about possibly getting the state to do a traffic study on the intersection of 52 and Mobley and Speedwell Road there. As we all know, that's a very busy intersection. It's getting busier with more development. The app harvest is out there now, and new businesses, a new mint or gas station out there. So maybe the state, we can get some more studies on that. And eventually that road's going to have to be widened out through there, but it's just a matter of when the state deems it necessary and deems having the funds to do it. So just be careful and slow down in that area. I think speed is the biggest cause of accidents on that road. 52 is a very heavily traveled road into Irvin there. So just be careful and stay safe. And I want to thank all of our county employees, department heads, all the employees right on down. So appreciate what you do and have a good, safe week.
Thanks,
That's all I
John.
got.
Appreciate you. Let's see, Kenny, you need anything? You got anything to say?
On everything.
Good. Brooke, it's good to see your smiling face.
Good to see you. I don't have anything, Judge.
Okay. Any of our department heads need to address the court today? Seeing no faces means, I guess, no. Oh, we got a face. Dustin Heiser.
Yes, sir. I just wanted to remind anybody that might be watching, and if they were either affected or if they know somebody that was affected from the March flood, we did get approved for individual assistance. You can go to our website for, it's actually on the county's website. You can go right there and find the information on how to apply for that individual assistance. There's also the Small Business Administration is providing low interest loans. Please don't get confused with the reason it says Small Business Administration. It is for homeowners as well. So you can apply for low interest loans to support your situation due to the flood. If there's any questions, they can always call our office at 859-624-4787. Thank you, Judge.
Thank you, Dustin. Appreciate that update. That's good. Roger and John, I think it's your all's districts that I think got hit the hardest. Did y'all get those numbers just in case y'all had any calls from constituents? I know, Roger, you'd said that you'd gotten some calls several times.
Yeah.
Did y'all get that number just to maybe give those citizens a call and make sure they're aware?
Yes.
If you give it to us one more time, Dustin.
You bet. It's 859-624-4787. And just so the magistrates know, we have called everybody that we had phone numbers for, and we also went door to door passing out the flyers with the information to everybody that we knew were affected. But if you it's obviously, there's always a potential of missing somebody. So if you have anybody else, feel free to reach them out, even if it's a duplication. It's no big deal. I'd rather duplicate it and have them talked about it a couple times and make sure they get the assistance they need.
Okay, thank you.
You bet.
That's great. Thanks, Dustin. Appreciate that update.
Thank you, Dustin.
Any other department heads? All right, and we had no comments from the audience or Facebook. Next, I need a motion to pay the claims and approve the transfers. Roger?
So moved.
Do I have a second? John Tudor?
Second, Judge.
I have a motion and a second to pay the claims and approve the transfers. Any discussion? All right, seeing none, call the roll, please.
Pastor Tudor,
Yes.
Pastor Buchan,
Yes.
Pastor Reynolds,
Yes.
Pastor Barger,
Yes.
Judge Taylor.
Yes. All right, this next one is been a long time coming, it seems like, so I want to make sure everybody's ears are on. But our next fiscal court meeting, June 22nd, 2021, is going to be in person in the Madison County Fiscal Courtroom in Richmond. So this is our last Zoom meeting, unless something else happens that we hope don't.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it too.
So I'm very excited. I'm very excited to be coming back into person. So I think it's been about 15 months, Chris, is that about right? Yeah, 15, 16 months. So I'm very thankful that, I'm very thankful of Zoom because it did make our fiscal court meetings a lot smoother and better. But I'm very thankful to get back in person. So next fiscal court meeting, June 22nd, 2021, will be in our Madison County Fiscal Courtroom at the Madison County Courthouse in Richmond. It will be at 9:30, our regular scheduled fiscal court meeting.
Judge, some of us are getting fairly old. We may need directions to know how to get back to the courthouse.
Well, you call me. I'll make sure. I'll walk you in.
Okay.
Next, I need a motion and second to adjourn. John Tudor,
So moved.
second.
Move.
Do I have a second? Paul Reynolds,
A second.
have a motion and a second. Call the roll, please.
Pastor Buchan,
Yes.
Pastor Reynolds,
Yes.
Pastor Barger,
Yes.
Pastor Tudor,
Yes.
that's it.
Yes. Great to see everybody. Thanks for what you do for the citizens of Madison County. God bless each and every one of you. Appreciate you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Judge.